Today on the Relationship Renovation Podcast, we talk about needs. We talk about understanding what it is that you need in your relationship.
We want to both feel like we need each other to make this work. And if one person doesn't have needs because they don't know how to express them or identify them, whatever, the other person feels like really probably alone.
And then developing the ability to communicate to your partner in a way that is really hearable and increases the likelihood that you're going to get that need met.
I need to feel more connected to you. I need more affection from you because that makes me feel really connected to you.
Bam.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Relationship Renovation Podcast. I'm Tarah Kerwin.
And my name is EJ Kerwin.
And today's topic, it's such a good one because so many of us don't have the skills, and this is kind of what our podcast is about anyway, learning the skills for healthy relationship habits. Today is how do we identify and express our needs to our partner, wait for it.
That's me.
In a way that's hearable.
Yeah.
We usually express them in maybe passive ways, or we don't express them at all, or maybe they're aggressive ways. We are here today to help you out from our own many missed communication needs in our relationship.
We just literally before we started rolling had a moment
yes.
where Tarah sort of expressed a need, but not entirely.
You're right. It was more passive.
I interpreted it. And I think we're going to be able to meet her needs. So you want to tell just...
Yeah. So we're going on a hike today after this podcast with all of our children. And the hike is the drive to the hike is about 45 minutes. And I get a lot of anxiety around amount of screen time that our kids have. And I know they love being on their screen on road trips. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so nice? That's how I started it. Wouldn't it be so nice if we didn't have our screens on the way to the hike and we could all just play like a family game?
I think what you said was what I really would like.
What I would really like.
Would be if the kids weren't on their screens. We actually talked on the way. Kind of like if I could easily interpret that as like that you had already resigned to the fact that wasn't going to happen.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Right? And so to even like make that more healthy, it would be like, hey, honey, this would feel really important to me on the way to our hike today. Can you and I agree upon no screen time there because it's going to help with my anxiety and I really want us to have some quality time together?
Yes.
Super hearable, right?
So what's the need? First, identify what is your need?
To have quality time today for a few hours at our hike and even before.
Yes. Because the need, and that's so important, right? Because the need isn't, I don't want the kids on their screens.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
But that, if you're not careful, that's the way it's communicated.
Yeah.
The need is, I want to have quality time as a family together, which is so hearable, which is so like, well, shit, like if I couldn't co-sign to that, like then I got some issues.
I have a really good idea. Okay.
Okay.
Because we've worked with so many couples and we share the space with awesome therapists that are on our team who work with so many couples. So I think it'd be a really good idea to share the needs that people get wrong, like I don't want this and I don't want this.
Like the way they communicate a need ineffectively.
And then we can kind of go in and try to identify, because like you just said, at first I would be like, yeah, I don't want the kids on the screen, but no, that's actually not the need. The need is to have quality time. I want to kind of go with that.
Okay, can I give you a communication and then you can interpret the need?
Okay, I like that.
All right, so you haven't hugged or kissed me all day long. I don't even remember the last time that you gave me a kiss.
I need to feel more connected to you. I need more affection from you because that makes me feel really connected to you.
Bam.
Continue. Go do one more.
Let's see. I feel like I have to do everything. I feel like I have to do the laundry. I have to cook the meals. Like I feel like everything is on me.
I'm needing support. I'm feeling overwhelmed. It would feel really meaningful if we could do some shared household tasks.
Bam.
Yeah. And this is where people get caught up because people will be like, what? I mopped the floor last time, you can mop it this time. That feels really bad. That's not hearable because now the other person's like, oh, I guess I don't do anything, yet they're doing all these other things. And this is where couples just get so lost in it.
Yeah.
So again, we are here today to help you identify and verbalize a need in a way your partner can hear because it does wonders for your relationship.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times we communicate our needs in really ineffective ways because we don't even recognize that we're feeling depleted or we're not getting the need met, right? And that we sort of just like accept things as they are. And we just like sort of push our feelings down until the point where there's like where there, the balloon pops. There's always a moment when you're blowing up a balloon where it's stable and the balloon is just full, and then one more breath and it pops. And I think a lot of times it's that moment where it's just like, I needed that affection. I don't need it. And then finally something happens and you're like, you haven't kissed me in days.
But here's also what happens too, because you just reminded me of this. Like, we go through so many transitions in relationships, from aging to possibly taking on parenting, to moving, to in-laws, to whatever. We don't discuss the needs of those transitions. So we kind of think like we just always need the same thing. Needs are always adapting, but we're not really curious about that. And we don't talk about it. And so then they go unmet because we don't even know that now there's a different need. Like, again, with like
So are you saying that like because of the transitions, I might not be aware of your needs, or you might not be aware of your own needs?
Both. Me, for sure. Like, I didn't know that when I became a parent that I would need so much more help with household tasks. I've always done that on my own. I didn't know I would need that. And then I just expected you to do it. I didn't know that when I married you, I would have this need for really healthy boundaries with the in-laws. And I didn't know how to set boundaries or be assertive. Right. And like, we had to go through all of the breaks, all of the ruptures, all of the arguments to be here and help everyone here in order to like instill and build the skills to effectively get our needs met. And I know us, again, trauma childhood survivor, many unmet needs. And I just had this expectation because you're this really cool dude. This man that loved me. You just know how to meet those without me talking about them because I didn't know how to talk about them. Yeah. And so again, it's a skill. It's also an awareness that a lot of our needs in relationships are unmet childhood needs that we have to figure out because you are not my parents and I can never expect you to be them. And I'm not a child anymore. I am an adult, but I'm still a wounded child. Get in touch with that wounded child piece. What is it that I'm really needing? I need like a big teddy bear kind of protector. But what does that mean for you, right? And what does that mean for us?
Yeah. So to a listener out there who's beginning to be like, okay, like, what's my entry point? Like, how do I begin to have this conversation with my partner? How do I identify if we are a couple who struggles to understand our own needs, each other's needs, and vocalize it to each other in a healthy way? What's their sort of entry point in this discussion?
Okay, goosebumps everywhere, jumping out of my chair here, because how many people have we worked with like, I don't really have needs. I'm good. Totally good. I just need to like make sure I'm like, providing for the family or whatever. So number one is we all have needs. The second thing is some people come in, and this is not a judgment, like they think that their needs are more important than their partner's needs. No, all of our needs are just as important. But if you don't know how to identify what they are, the other person doesn't even know. Like, I didn't even know you had that need, right? And we don't want to have an identified client in the system like, oh, it's all you, not me. We want to both feel like we need each other to make this work. And if one person doesn't have needs because they don't know how to express them or identify them, whatever, the other person feels like really probably alone, I'm guessing.
Well, that's been a big struggle for us. And I think it's a very common dynamic in relationships is there's one person who's a little more apt to say, hey, I need this.
Yeah.
I'm lacking this. Like in our relationship, you've always been the one from very early on in it. Like this isn't getting met. You need to meet that. And so I've oftentimes just like thrown my needs sort of under the bus a little bit and just said I feel almost sometimes have felt getting better, overwhelmed by trying to figure out how to meet your needs that I just sort of neglect to talk about my needs.
Yeah.
Also, when I do vocalize my needs, sometimes it feels like you're just not used to it or something. And you like...
It's clunky in the beginning, like, what? You like need me to what? Like, I thought I was just perfect in this relationship. Like, EJ doesn't need anything. I'm like, I'm a really good nurturer. I'm a really good wife. I'm a really good mom. I'm a really good partner, like a really good business partner. Like, I'm just perfect. Which I know I'm not.
Well, the interesting thing is
starting to express your needs. Just listen to anyone out there who has a hard time. Like, yes, it's really vulnerable and it's really scary at first. And you think you're going to like disrupt everything, but trust that your partner can handle it because they really do want to support you.
Well, and I think it always begins with a more generalized discussion of like, is this something we can talk about? Is this something that we can sort of like handle in our communication, and how do we prepare ourselves for it?
Yeah.
You know, I think that you as a listener right now coming to your partner and saying like, hey, I heard this podcast and they're talking about the fact that how important it is that we identify what we need in our relationship and then we talk about it in a way where it increases the likelihood it's going to happen. Is this something you're interested in? I just think that's always like the best entry point, because if you enter into the conversation going straight to the need, hey, I don't get enough affection, I need more affection, your partner's like pulling back instantaneously, they're going into a protective state. You want to like set the context for like, hey, we want to talk about this.
And be very careful of language. Like, you should, bad. I wish, no. This is how it's always been, no. It's more of like, you never, you always, no. It's always come from, this would feel really meaningful for me. I would feel really supported if this is really important to me. Can we somehow talk about this? The language piece is everything.
Yeah, because even when you do use like pretty like I statements and you stick with your process, because even when you're sort of communicating in a relatively healthy way, still oftentimes your partner can have a negative reaction because they run it through their own filter. Because I know there's definitely been times where I've attempted to talk about my needs from a place of like and you quickly like sort of go into like this feeling like I'm criticizing you, or I'm telling you what you're doing wrong. And so even if you speak about it in a relatively healthy way, oftentimes it hurts your partner.
Well, and you recognize, like, because I'm thinking about the other day when you came in and you were like, gotta let you know, like the tone made me feel really bad. Like I was already...
I hurt, my feelings were hurt,
yeah.
Is what I said.
When you shared it with me, I was already out of my window of tolerance. I was already so frazzled that I can't even answer my emails since Monday. I was already so anxious and overwhelmed that when you said that, and so to me, I was like, oh, I wasn't in my window of tolerance. I couldn't hear it. And because then I just wanted you to hear and you said, no, I can't hear that. Because I was like, well, you don't make me feel emotionally safe either.
We had this moment where so we had a moment where I was talking about a need of the way that I would like Tarah to talk to me in a moment. And she kind of quickly turned it around and said, well, I don't feel emotionally safe with you.
It's the chick flip.
And then I said, like, look, this was about me. And you're like, well, can I talk to you? Then you were like, well, can I talk to you about what I'm not happy about? And I was like, okay. And then she started to talk about it. And I quickly was like tuning out. And I was like, actually you can't. Like right now, like I don't I feel like I got kind of stifled, shut down about my need. And so, no, I really can't listen to your
So
need
this
right
is
now.
important, right? So this is important because it's about making sure you can hear it, that you're receptive, that if you do start to tune out, that you say, actually, right now, I can't hear it, right? That's like a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. But because that gives you a better success, because the idea is you're going to get it right 1 out of 10 times, then 2 out of 10 times, then 3 out of 10 times. Like you're going to be practicing it. And the more that like your partner responds in a healthy way, it's going to give you the chance and the bravery, I guess, to do it again. But if you keep messing it up because you're not in your window of tolerance, you're going to learn, oh, actually, that never works out good. Like my partner is always like defensive to this. And so that's just another part of when you're trying to say a need and it's hearable, is your partner in a place to hear it.
Man, and I really think that this also speaks to the importance of engaging in some process with your partner that's a little more global. And, just a shameless plug here is like we have an at-home program called Relationship Renovation at Home, right? And it goes through very much what we take couples through in our center, where you look at the past, you look at your relationships growing up, you set goals together, you talk about healthy communication, because in order to get to this place of vocalizing something like as like, vulnerable as these are my needs and as vulnerable as like, am I able to meet them or not meet them? Like you have to be doing some deeper work, and you have to, as Dr. Stantakin says, you have to become a expert in your partner. Right. And so, really encourage people, check out our Relationship Renovation at Home program, or, go to see a therapist in your community. Like when you're engaging in a deeper process of understanding yourself and your partner better, then getting into this minutia, because this is a tweak we're talking about of like, how to know what you need and how to talk about it in a healthy manner.
And also the idea of like that there's little needs that you don't even think about, and then there's bigger needs. Like I can tell you so many times, like I'll be sitting there with a couple across and like someone will be getting a phone call, and so they'll pull out their cell phone in session. And I totally see the other partner like have a reaction in their body language. And I, of course, because I'm observing it all, I'll be like, what just happened, right? So many couples don't even realize it's happening. I'm like, well, I just feel like that was really disrespectful. Okay, that might feel like a disrespectful behavior, but what's important to you? What do you need? I need, like, while we're in this session together, that you don't answer phone calls so we can be present. And it 99.9% of the time, unless it's an emergency, that couple has responded. Couples respond to that, but they just didn't know it was even a thing. They just kept being like, oh, there they go again.
Yeah. Well, it's a twofold. It's that hopelessness of like, there they go again. I'm not even going to tell them. And then it's the other person, like when your partner is trying to vocalize a need they have, maybe doing it in a not perfect way, but they're trying, that we go automatically into defensiveness. Like so many people, when they have that negative core belief of like, I never get it right, I'm always being criticized. Like, I know that's a big work for me, is like the first thing when Tarah vocalizes a need is I hear I screwed up. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I want to say is I want to defend myself. And I want to say, well, I did, but I did this and I did that, and I have to break through that and just listen of like, she's asking for something.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but we're watching Love is Blind season 6. And so there's this one couple and she's like, you haven't kissed me at all today. And he's like, I've kissed you twice. And I was like, oh, empathy miss right there, right? But I see it all because, and I'm not judging them. Like, they just don't have the skills to be like, hey.
Yeah, it sounds like a criticism. He took it as a criticism. He defended himself.
And he's thinking like, and he had the exact moments, right? When you were getting ready and right before I went on my call for work. What's she really trying to say? What's the need there? And then he can respond to that. And I'm literally like in there, like they need to have a therapist on Love is Blind teaching healthy communication and relationship skills because so many people watch Love is Blind.
Yeah.
And we could learn so much.
Oh my God.
Like, hey, let's do a retake
can I do
on
one
that.
more moment from Love is Blind like the other night? That
We're obsessed, by the way. Okay.
So there's this one character who he's like constantly looking at his phone when he's having like these serious conversations with the woman he's with. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, it's actually a great mirror for me because although I don't think I'm that bad, I'm just like, God, is that what I look like? Is that how checked out, it feels for Tarah when I look at my phone because sometimes like we'll be like, even like watching TV and I'll look at something on my phone and I can just see your physical reaction to it. And so it was there's some usefulness in watching that show and seeing some of those behaviors. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's something I can work on.
You know what would be so cool? Just saying, if Love is Blind, people are listening, to have like, your episodes show, but then like to have a different one where you actually have like a relationship coach or a therapist in there, like really doing it to see like if relationships actually heal and get better. And
like if you had very early on in your relationship, like from the nascent stage of your relationship, if you had somebody that was guiding you in how to securely attach with one another, would it increase the likelihood that you could get through it?
Oh, that's juicy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, again, it's so important because we all have our needs. They're all important, whatever they are. Our partner, they love us, even though we annoy the crap out of them. They want to meet our needs. So we just have to find very gentle ways and healthy ways to express them in hearable ways. And then you have the chance of really having a relationship that feels secure, that you can mess it up sometimes, but that's going to be okay because 80% of the time they get it right. And, again, if you are listening and this feels like, wow, I know somebody where this could be really useful, please share this podcast. Please write in and tell us your thoughts or give us more questions. We love hearing from you. We love responding to our listeners. Thank you for all of the love that you've been giving us. It's been awesome. Smile on my face all the time when I get them.
Sometimes I just like watch you over there and I'm just blown away by you. You're just, you're really good at this, Tarah.
Well, I'm getting better, I guess.
Yeah, you're fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun to do this with you.
Thank you. Well, and again, as kind of like my lead out, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.